Section 5 may be my favorite topic that we're going to discuss. Well, topics. Social media, internal communications, and corporate PR. Let's jump right in. You'll read about social media and how more than half of the U.S. female internet population participates in social media. That's 42 million American women are on social media at least weekly. Here's some statistics showing what they do. So they're on blogs, social media, message boards, and things like Twitter. And some companies were surveyed, and this is what they responded as far as how does social media marketing help them. It generated exposure for their business, increased traffic, it resulted in new business partnerships. So there are links between who uses social media and companies that use social media to market and do public relations activities. You'll read about that. You'll also watch a video about Red Bull and a social media campaign that they did, and I'll ask you to respond to some questions about that in our discussion questions. This is just a slide that shows commonly used social media tools by businesses. You should be familiar with all of these at this point. Well, where does social media fit in? Is social media a campaign in itself, or is it just a tool that is used as part of an overall PR campaign? I would suggest that social media is a tactic that happens in the implementation process of an overall campaign. So there we go. Social media is a tactic. Why it's important is it facilitates interactive communication. It's two-way. It's not just sending out a press release and hoping people receive it now. It's having a conversation with people. It actively engages stakeholders because they can participate in the conversation now. And you can exchange information and news with your audiences now. This really facilitates the building of organization public relationships, which is the definition of public relations. So you'll read about that. Then we'll jump into what we call employee communications. That has a lot of different names. Internal communications, internal relations, you can see them all here. But they all mean the same thing. It's building relationships with audiences within an organization, and there are reasons why that's important. One of which is employee disengagement. Internal communications really helps get rid of employee disengagement. Employee disengagement means that people are going to work and they hate going to work, right? And when you hate doing something, you don't perform as well. When we talk about internal communications, we will also talk about what we call the black hole of middle management. How sometimes when the top leaders in a company want to communicate with the employees, middle management kind of filters down what information they think employees should get, and vice versa. When employees want to talk with executive management, middle management kind of filters what they want executive management to hear. There's some power issues here, but think about that when you're reading about internal employee communications. There's two ways to think about internal communications. One is kind of keep it closed, right? Nobody says anything about the company except one person within the organization. Or open communication, down, up, side to side within an organization. Which one is your preferred method? And then you'll also read a chapter 15, about reputation and reputation management. Really, it's about corporate PR. When we talk about reputation, we're talking about the perceptions or image of an organization held by the organization's key publics. Without a good reputation, without people trusting in you, you can't be successful as an organization. So when we talk about corporate PR, that's one of the main jobs of PR people, is to help maintain and manage an organization's reputation. You'll also read about what are maybe some key elements of trust. What makes you trust in someone else? Well, it's the same things that make you trust in a company. And we'll learn about what trust does for a business, for an organization. So take some time and look through this slide. Also, when we talk about corporate PR, we talk about corporate social responsibility. I think we've talked about this a little already, but corporations exist to make money, to make profit. Well, they are also expected to be responsible citizens. So you'll read about, well, is it okay to do good and do well at the same time? For example, here is a case study. Assume you are Microsoft with a $1 million budget for corporate social responsibility. How would you strategically divvy it up? Would you go down to the Boys and Girls Club and create fitness programs? Well, what does that do for you as an organization? Compared to, do you donate computers to underprivileged parts of the city and give computer skills and career building classes? Will that eventually, in the long run, help you and help your bottom line? You can do good and do well at the same time.